Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Chief of Air Force, welcome to the Warrant Officer of the Air Force changeover ceremony. My name is Corporal Jake Colley and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies this morning. Please ensure that all mobile phones and smart devices are turned off or on silent, and your military IDs have been removed from your uniform. In the event of an emergency, please wait for directions from our security staff. The ceremony will commence shortly with the arrival of Air Marshal Robert Chipman and Mrs. Elise Chipman, where you will be required to stand if able to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, could I please ask you to stand as we welcome Warrant Officer of the Air Force Designate, Warrant Officer Ralph Clifton and Mrs. Melissa Clifton. Warrant Officer Air Force Fiona Grasby and Mr. Matthew Kilmister. And the Chief of Air Force, Air Marshal Robert Chipman and Mrs. Elise Chipman. Please be seated. This morning we welcome Chief of Air Force Air Marshal Robert Chipman, distinguished guests, family and friends that have travelled near and far to witness the changeover ceremony of the Warrant Officer of the Air Force. Our ceremony this morning will acknowledge the service and contribution of Warrant Officer Air Force Fiona Grasby and promote and appoint Warrant Officer Ralph Clifton as the 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force. LACW Melissa Batoza will now deliver the Acknowledgement of Country, followed by LAC Taryn Roach, who will play the didgeridoo.
Walawani Ninjiwan. This means have a safe journey here and to your next destination in Durga language. I am leading aircraft woman Melissa Batoza. My people are Wabunja from Yuin Country, which is located by the salt water of New South Wales South Coast. We are the geographical neighbours of the Ngunnawal people and for millennia have shared stories with them. Today, I bring greetings from my family and would like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people, the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on today, a land of freshwater rivers and snow-covered mountains. I pay my respects to all Ngunnawal people, particularly the elders of both past and present. I would like to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that are here with us today. Walawani Ninjiwan.
Thank you, LACW Batosa and LAC Roach. As we gather as members of the Air Force family, Corporal Laura Pearson, the Enlisted Aviator of the Year, will now recite Great Leaders by Meiji Stewart.
Awaken minds, bring people together, communicate effectively, dare to take calculated risks, enlighten and empower, foster collaboration, give tools to succeed, help you do for yourself. Invite and encourage questions, joyfully embrace diversity. Keep an open mind, lead by example. Motivate with respect. Never give up on you. Open doors to new worlds. Put first things first. Quest to make learning fun. Recognise problems early. Share roles and responsibilities. Take time to explain things. Unwrap talents and abilities. Value everyone's input. Welcome mistakes as part of learning and exceed expectations. Yearn to connect, not correct, and zest to make a difference.
Thank you, Corporal Pearson. I now invite the Chief of Air Force, Air Marshal Robert Chipman, to give his address to the outgoing Warrant Officer of the Air Force.
Thank you, Jake. And can I thank Melissa and Taryn for the acknowledgement to country and the didgeridoo playing. That was fabulous. Welcome, everyone. Former Chiefs of Air Force, Air Marshal Leo Davies and Mel Hupfeld and Lou, great to have you here today. To our former Warrant Officers of the Air Force, John Bordell, Mark Pentreath and Rob Swank, great to have you all here as well. Warrant Officer of the Navy, Deb Butterworth, and Warrant Officer of the New Zealand Air Force, who has joined us here today, Kerry Williams. Thank you for making the effort. To our distinguished guests, aviators, friends, and an especially warm welcome to the families of our Warrant Officers of the Air Force. Thank you all for joining us here today on this important occasion. The Royal Australian Air Force has a long and proud tradition of service to Australia, built on the qualities and the commitment of our people. The Warrant Officer of the Air Force has a unique role in representing all aviators in our Air Force and harnessing the collective potential of our people. We expect enormous things from our Warrant Officer of the Air Force: to champion defence values and behaviours, to demonstrate ethical leadership, accountability and emotional intelligence through every deed and every act, every single day. Fee, you have delivered brilliantly in this capacity and added your own exceptional qualities to this role, providing leadership through your example to our aviators, supporting command at all levels, and representing the interests of all aviators to Air Marshal Hupfeld and myself. We have both come to rely on your judgment in discharging our responsibilities as Chief of Air Force. Your many achievements include championing and maturing the Warrant Officer tiered framework, professional development and education of our enlisted aviators, and the establishment of the Leader Enrichment Program. You have passionately advocated to give a voice to our junior enlisted aviators so that they might contribute to our strategic decision-making by inviting them to participate in the Air and Space Board. You have worked tirelessly, not for personal recognition or gain, but for the benefit of our Air Force, in selfless service and stewardship. We are unquestionably a more capable, inclusive, people-focused organisation as a direct result of your personal influence. As you relinquish this role today, I'm pleased to say that your passion and skills aren't lost to the Royal Australian Air Force or to the Australian Defence Force. From today, Warrant Officer of the Air Force Fiona Grasby becomes Wing Commander Fiona Grasby and takes up an appointment as Joint Military Police Unit's Director of Information and Intelligence. Fee, I wish you continuing success in your career, and I look forward to seeing Joint Military Police Unit benefit from your extensive knowledge and experience. I join all aviators in congratulating you on your promotion and extending our heartfelt gratitude for your outstanding service as the 9th Warrant Officer of the Air Force. I acknowledge the support of your family and thank them for enabling your service to our Air Force and to our nation. Soon-to-be Wing Commander Grasby, you have lived up to the highest standards of the Air Force in your role as Warrant Officer of the Air Force and exemplified our motto, Per Ardua ad Astra. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Warrant Officer Air Force Fee Grasby to give her address.
My goodness, I said on the 6th of November 2019 that I wish everyone had the opportunity to stand where I stand today and to look out at the incredible representation of our Defence Force that I stand here today to look out to. Every one of you here have had an influence in some way and shape in reference to how we perform and serve you as your Warrant Officer Air Force, and I thank you all sincerely for that. Chief of Air Force, Air Marshal Chipman, Mrs Chipman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to also extend a very special welcome to our Warrant Officer of the New Zealand Air Force, Kerry Williams, and I think once again it's a representation of the friendships and the power of relationships and what we can do across our Air Forces, so thanks mate. Thank you also to the wonderful example of our aviators here. I am so proud of all of you. And as you know, Taryn was here in 2019, our enlisted aviator of the year, Mel, and MC Jake, deliberately selected because you represent the diverse, amazing workforce that we have. So I couldn't thank you enough. So thanks so much, team. First of all, sir, I would like to thank you for your very kind words, your trust, and the privilege to serve beside you and to serve aside Elise during this phase of your command. I am now super excited that with Ralph's appointment as our 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force, that you will continue to form a strong values-based leadership team who will lead and inspire our aviators at every level during a time where, as a joint force, we will continue to be presented with opportunities to sharpen our potential in what is a dynamic domestic, international, geopolitical environments. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome and congratulations to Ralph and your family for being selected as our 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force. Ralphie, I know that you will excel in the role as you passionately lead through influence and continue to promote, motivate and guide our leaders at every level. I wish you and Melissa all the very best, and I look forward to supporting you during your tenure. When I first sat down to pen my thoughts through reflection, I was confronted by not being able to find the words to encapsulate the deep level of gratitude and pride that I feel for, first of all, the privilege to have been able to serve at every enlisted rank over a 30-year career, but more so the honour to have served you all as your Warrant Officer of the Air Force. As I stood before you for the first time in November 19, my leadership philosophy and my commitment to you all was very simple. I intended to focus my energy on supporting command, supporting our workforce, and underpinned to both of these pillars was to always remain focused on the welfare of all. Engage, educate and empower became our motto, and we continued to look for opportunities across our Air Force, the Joint Force and through our international engagements with partners and allies to support the development of our leaders at every level. I say we because I couldn't have done anything without the strength of the leaders and the leadership team that I have been privileged to serve with. To Grant, to Kim, to Debs, thank you for your leadership. I have been truly blessed to serve with you and to represent as service warrant officers, our services and the Joint Force. Every day was a learning opportunity for all of us, and through your support and altruistic leadership focus, we ensured that our soldiers, our sailors and our aviators were represented in the highest order. To Team OCAF and the Team OCAF that I've privileged to serve with over the past 3 years, thank you for your professionalism and your continued support. It cannot be understated that the Air Force leadership team could not do what we do every day without you and your tireless commitment in support and everyone that we serve together. To Katie and now the incredible Danny, who I often affectionately call my second brain, thank you for being you. No one can fully understand the vibrant pace of the tempo behind the scenes that we experience, and through your leadership and commitment to excellence, you have supported the WOFF-AF vision and passionately created opportunities for that vision to become our reality. Today is a celebration of you and of your leadership. To Air Marshal Hutfeld and to Lou, together we worked for Air Force, and our office was always the office for all aviators. Thank you for trusting in me to serve beside you and to represent our Air Force at the highest level, both internationally and domestically. Sir, thank you for your practical wisdom and your superior leadership that was exemplified during the global and regional and domestic history-recorded events that we experienced during your command. However, Sir and Lou, thank you mostly for your friendship. To my family, my friends, and my mentor, you have shared in this humble journey, and you have always inspired me to appreciate the power of purpose and perspective, and importantly, the superpower of just being a really good human. Your belief in me, your encouragement, your unwavering support has influenced who I am today, and for that I will be eternally grateful. To all of our aviators who I've had the privilege to serve, people may not remember what you have said, however, they will always remember how you made them feel. And there has been no greater pride felt during my tenure than representing you and observing you striving for and reaching your full potential. You are our intelligent and skilled workforce, and more importantly, you are the reputation of what makes our Air Force great. Thank you for your support and for placing your trust in me to always do what was right on your behalf. Now, as I close this chapter of my career and look forward to the next exciting adventure, there is a final responsibility to our aviators that is WOFF-AF I feel is appropriate to complete before I hand over to Warrant Officer Clifton. I made a commitment when I was first appointed to remain connected to our workforce and to personally welcome our recruits into our Air Force, and importantly, thank them and their families for making the commitment to serve something that is far greater than self. Through the support and creative efforts of the instructional team of No. 1 Recruit Training Unit, I have been fortunate to engage personally with over 2,500 recruits during my tenure. Today, through the graciousness of the instructors and command team of 1RTU, we have 18 of 2022 recruit course present at the ceremony, the final course for the year as they graduate next week. Course 18 of 2022, welcome and congratulations for making the decision to join what I unbiasedly say the greatest Air Force in the world, one of the most sophisticated Air Forces in the world. As aviators know that you are all essential in the integration of air and space power. And as this first phase of your career continues, I wish you nothing but the very best, and I look forward to continuing to serve with you all. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The Chief of Air Force will now promote Warrant Officer Ralph Clifton to Warrant Officer Air Force. Accompanying the Chief of Air Force will be Warrant Officer Clifton's wife, Melissa Clifton, and Warrant Officer Clifton's mother, Mrs. Wendy Stace. I now invite Chief of Air Force Air Marshal Rob Chipman, Warrant Officer Clifton, Mrs. Clifton, and Mrs. Stace to move to the stage. Joining us today to observe the promotion will be their two sons, Luke Clifton, who is currently employed within the logistics branch at Star Trek in Brisbane, and Flying Officer Michael Clifton, who is currently serving with 11 Squadron at RAF Base Edinburgh.
Promotion to Warrant Officer of the Air Force. I, Air Marshal Robert Timothy Chipman, AMCSC, Chief of the Air Force, Delegate of the Chief of the Defence Force, pursuant to Section 13 of the Defence Regulation 2016, hereby promote Ralph Joseph Clifton to the rank of Warrant Officer of the Air Force in the Royal Australian Air Force, with effect 1st of December 2022. Congratulations, Ralph. Warrant Officer of the Air Force, Ralph Clifton.
I now invite the Chief of Air Force, Air Marshal Rob Chipman, to give his address and appoint Warrant Officer Air Force Ralph Clifton as the 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Warrant Officer of the Air Force Clifton joined the Air Force in 1986 as a trade apprentice on number 40 intake. His many years of dedicated and committed service have included appointments as a flight engineer instructor in 2003, Warrant Officer of number 11 Squadron, and Warrant Officer of Combat Support Group. He has amassed extensive operational experience, having deployed to operations Warden, Falconer, Sumatra Assist, Catalyst, Slipper, Astute, Resolute, Gateway, Solania, and Parapet, demonstrating a deep professional mastery of air power. Warrant Officer of the Air Force Clifton now takes on the privilege and the responsibility to represent and to serve the aviators of our diverse and dynamic Air Force. Ralph, I am delighted to welcome you as the 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force. I look forward to working with you. We have much to do together. Together, we will do our best on behalf of all aviators to ensure they have the leadership, resources and opportunities to excel in the delivery of air and space power, guided by our Air Force strategy. Together, we will strengthen the readiness, resilience and resourcefulness of our Air Force to ensure we continue to rise to the contemporary strategic challenges that we face, and that we prepare for an uncertain future, as we have throughout our proud history. We do this as a committed member of the Joint Force, building partnerships across all levels of command with other government agencies and with our coalition partners. I welcome Melissa, Luke and Michael to the Air Force Headquarters community. And I thank you for your continued support of Ralph as he takes on this new role. We acknowledge the significant role our families play in making the service of our aviators possible through your support and your forbearance. I hope you share our pride and accept our thanks for helping Ralph achieve this milestone today. Ralph, congratulations. You will play a significant role in strengthening our Air Force legacy as we embark on our second century. Please join me on the stage. On this day, 1st of December 2022, I have the privilege to appoint Warrant Officer of the Air Force, Ralph Clifton, our 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite our 9th and 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force to sign the changeover certificate. WOFF-AF Fiona Grasby will now hand over the miniature Queen's colour to WOFF-AF Ralph Clifton. Military colours hold a revered position of honour and are the embodiment of service traditions, achievements and history. The Queen's colour for the Royal Australian Air Force represents all of the Air Force. It symbolises our traditions and is a reminder of the sacrifices of our predecessors. It is also an inspiration to those who serve in the Royal Australian Air Force. This Queen's colour was first consecrated and presented to the RAF in 1952. It was replaced in 1986 and again in 2021 at the Centenary of Air Force at Government House. The Queen's colour miniature used in today's ceremony is reproduced at a 1:4 scale and embroidered onto the same azure blue silk for the Queen's colour and squadron standards. The Warrant Officer of the Air Force is a position of honour and upholds the embodiment of service traditions, achievements and history. While representing all aviators' interests to the Chief of Air Force, the senior leadership team, the Australian public and government. The Warrant Officer of the Air Force fosters mutually supportive relationships across all levels of command, the Joint Force, other government departments and our coalition partners, and in doing so exemplifies those intangibles of our colour. The selection and the symbolic transfer of this replica today signifies the passing of these responsibilities from one Warrant Officer of the Air Force to the next, and will remain a positive reminder of the role and its importance to aviators now and into the future. I now invite Warrant Officer Air Force Ralph Clifton to give his address.
Air Marshal and Mrs. Chipman, distinguished guests, aviators, friends and family, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by expressing my personal appreciation to Warrant Officer Air Force Fiona Grasby for her years of dedicated leadership. I've recently gained a unique perspective and appreciation of the behind-the-scenes work that has been conducted throughout your tenure. Your work has ensured our aviators are best equipped to project air and space power for our nation. Thank you for all you've done. My Air Force story began on the 7th of January 1986, when a 16-year-old redhead crossed the tarmac at RAF Amberley for a flight to Wagga to start what was at the time a totally unimaginable career. Needless to say, the walk out to the C-130 that day was made with a significant level of both excitement and indeed trepidation. Today, 36 years on, it is both an incredible honour and a privilege to be appointed by Air Marshal Chipman as your 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force. Interestingly, the emotions felt on the 7th of January 1986 are being felt again, I can assure you. The opportunity to represent all of our aviators, domestically, internationally, as we contribute to the Joint Force, is not an insignificant task. It is a duty that I'm deeply passionate about. The ability to share the pride I have in our Air Force and our aviators on such a stage is a rare privilege that I will exercise at every opportunity. I commenced my tenure in an environment that is evolving rapidly. We're an Air Force that is undergoing significant and rapid change to match the geopolitical and strategic environment. While our material and equipment capabilities are amongst the best, I firmly believe that it is our aviators at every level that are our greatest asset in the projection of air and space power. In order to achieve the tasks of my new role, I intend to promote and foster some key principles across our Air Force. Good communication across all levels is essential. Communication that is contemporary, timely, relevant, pertinent and clear. We need to ensure aviators across all levels of our organisation are afforded the information they need to thrive in their respective roles. Clarity of mission and clarity of purpose is intrinsically linked to good communication. Without a clear understanding of our mission and a deep sense of purpose, it is difficult to realise the amazing potential of each and every one of our aviators. Empowering and valuing our leaders at all levels is essential, and particularly at the junior levels can be a significant capability enabler. Pride in our service, reinforcing in all our aviators that each and every one of us who wear the uniform are in the profession of arms, and as such must be ready to do our duty in the service of Australia's security and its people. Accordingly, I'll work to support our ability to meet Air Marshal Chipman's intent of being ready, resilient and resourceful. It is often said that it takes a village to raise a child. I believe that similarly, it takes an Air Force to raise a warrant officer. As I look towards those that are gathered here today, I'm surrounded by the faces of those who in some way have contributed to my journey through the Air Force thus far. To each and every one of you, I respectfully ask that you continue to guide and educate me as I take on this role. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge and thank my family, particularly Melissa, my wife, and my sons, Luke and Michael. It's been a wild ride to this point, and it's because of your ongoing support that I'm able to take on this role. Hang in there. I think things are once again about to get a touch more exciting. I look forward to serving you all as the 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the formal part of our ceremony. On behalf of the Chief of Air Force and our 9th and 10th Warrant Officer of the Air Force, we thank you for sharing this important occasion. You are now welcome to join us for morning tea.